because this is done in the middle of moving, it's going to be, by definition, a very brief one. Two things I want to highlight. One is there's a poll that was commissioned by CNN and The Hindu, which is a pretty prominent Indian newspaper, that showed that Parliament would be hung. And it's not unexpected, but I think the next few months might show something a little bit different. And we might have some interesting dynamics taking over. And I don't know how tenable it is. I really don't. The other thing is the state of Andhra Pradesh is probably going to be split in 2 or 3. This is in reaction to some quote-unquote agitation that was going on in a region called Telangana. And Telangana is actually the place where Hyderabad, or the current state capital, is located. So, a little bit of history. Andhra Pradesh was actually part of Tamil Nadu, which we will never forget nor forgive the Tamils for doing that. And what ended up happening afterwards is there was a hunger strike. A man actually killed himself, and I don't know why, but he killed himself for a free state for all Telugu speakers who are different from Tamil speakers. So it was a state that was linguistically ordered and organized. So we have the southern part, which is probably the coastal Andhra Pradesh. We have the middle part, which is a more, it's called Rayalaseema, and it has a certain kind of rowdiest type of environment, farmers, factions, violence, and so on. And the third part was called Telangana, and it was actually taken from the old Nizam of Hyderabad and a few other districts from Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. So that is how the state of Andhra Pradesh was created. Now the problem with that is, I believe in the 60s or so, there was another round of agitation where the people from Telangana, or the region surrounding Hyderabad, wanted their own state because they thought their culture was separate, different, unique, whatever you want to call it. So the big thing then becomes, they've been agitating for this long, how has the central government been able to keep control of this whole scenario? And I think it comes down to just buying the elites off with development projects, power sharing, and so on. Whatever, there was chief minister that died in, crashed his helicopter actually, and it just upset a lot of politics that was, I guess you would call it, an equilibrium. And the BJP, the right-leaning party, has actually been using it to further their own thing, saying that if we come into power in the national government, we'll create a separate state for Telangana. And it's become a policy issue now in terms of the election 2014. What ends up happening then is Congress decides to just go ahead and say, we're not going to give you this election item, so we'll create Telangana on our own. So what does that mean? 47 seats to the parliament, and is what Andhra Pradesh in total contributes. So if you split them up regionally, I think both parties are playing that, we can win enough so that in our constituencies, so we can claim what was Andhra Pradesh. I think it's a very dangerous thing. I'm not so sure it's a good idea. It's not a good idea because you're playing with fire. Then again, to play devil's advocate here, the good news is if you have a state that is based not on linguistic difference, but on some weird cultural difference, I think it decenters a lot of the axis of conflict over the past 50 years, which has been Marathis need their own state because we speak Marathi, we're part of Maharashtra and so on. The Tamils felt the same way, and obviously the Andhraites, or Andre as the Greeks like to call them, exist on their own, and it's moving away from linguistic difference, and I'd like to think that the more you atomize the states and you turn them into smaller and smaller units, that Indian identity develops as opposed to a state-based identity. Again, I don't know. Maybe that's more of a nationalistic tone as opposed to a sectionalist tone. And yeah, that's about it. We'll see what happens. Apparently a decision was reached, and we'll know when it's implemented. If they'll walk back on that decision, I'm not really sure. So, all right, back to moving.